Welcome to a program that may not only change your life, but your entire understanding of health care. We're going to tell you about a procedure that cures nothing, but because of its ability to restore body function, apparently can help hundreds of conditions. The guest we have with us today was once an invalid, confined to bed in agony, unable to even dress or feed herself. Today, she appears on television, radio, and in newspapers around the country, talking about a little-known procedure that restored her life. Would you welcome the founder of the National Awareness Campaign for Upper Cervical Care, Luella Harris. Luella, you grew up in Kenya, East Africa, where you contracted polio. Am I right?
That's right. In fact, before you go overseas, you have to have all kinds of immunizations, and exactly 8 months after I was given the polio vaccine, I contracted polio. So I've grown up living in a wheelchair and working with braces and crutches, and that is an inconvenience, but that is not an incapacity. I got married, got my master's degree in counseling, and had a very, very active life, but then 5 years ago, I began having pain crawl up this left arm, into my shoulders, down the right arm, and that was terrifying for me. By the time it started to 6 months later, I was completely bedridden. Richard had to dress me and feed me, and the pain was so bad that I could not even turn my head and sit up and watch television. Well, we went from doctor to doctor to doctor to try to find some help, and the only thing they were able to help me with was drugs, medication, and some exercise. When a case like that, you'll try anything, Karen, okay, just to get rid of the pain, to try to have a life again. Well, we had heard that chiropractic could help, and when I got in there, it was like walking into like a science lab. There was so much technology and so much precision in what they did. They focus on one thing, and that's the atlas, the top vertebra of the spine, right here, right at the brainstem area. And they did a neck scan. They did all this type of measuring to see what the problem was. They did a neck scan right here to see if the atlas was out. Because if that crazy 2-ounce bone right there at the top of your spine is out even a fraction of a degree, it can cause health problems from head to toe. So they did the neck scan, and then they did a leg check, because one of the indications that your atlas is out is one leg is shorter than another. Well, my right leg was a good 1 inch and 3/4 shorter than the other, and I thought that was because of polio, not because of the atlas. And then they took this series of x-rays focusing on the atlas in 3 different planes. And then that doctor spent 45 minutes analyzing the shift and the tilt and the rotation of the atlas. He spent so much time, all this preparation, and they came in, and I just laid down on this table, and he said, now I'm going to give you the correction. And this type of chiropractic procedure is done either by hand or by instrument. If it's done by hand, it feels like a soft massage or a quick wrist thrust or a light tap. And just focusing right here, and that's all he did, okay? So he said, now just lie back and relax. Now, I hadn't been working in months, Karen, and I'm thinking as I'm staring at the ceiling relaxing, this guy looks good, but he's a quack, you know? He has done nothing for me. And then about 20 seconds after that atlas correction, I began to feel the pain just come out of my body. It felt like water coming out. Well, and not only that, my whole body began to feel like it was shifting. It was like my whole right leg began to move down, because when the atlas is tilted out of the proper position, it literally can pull one shoulder down, one shoulder up, and the whole pelvis distort and pull a leg up. My whole body began to shift right there on the table. Well, Richard and I were just blown away, because we had fought this for 18 months. My medical doctor has said, just medications, nothing can be done for you. And when I married this man, I was so active, and he ended up with having to treat an invalid. And that just was not something I could deal with. And every time I think about that experience, our backs were against the wall before we knew about this upper cervical care. Well, I was crying on the table, basically, and the next thing they had to do was they take an immediate post-X-ray or an immediate heat reading, because this work has to be so precise. They've got to make sure they've done it right. After that, I got back in the car, and by the time we got into the car, my low back pain was gone. Now remember, Karen, he only touched me here, all right? And that night, my sleeping patterns began to change. I've always had trouble sleeping. Well, in 48 hours, though, that pain began rushing back, because the atlas had been out for so long that it just didn't want to hold the position. So the first month or two of staying under care was grueling, being in the office and getting it set. But the pain began to decrease until the point was, by the end of 4 months, I was 70 to 80% completely pain-free, back to work, active again, and very, very pregnant at age 39. Now, this was not something Richard and I had planned, okay? He did not write it in the Daytimer. And so we went to the chiropractor's office and we said, we have something to tell you. And he said, you're pregnant, aren't you? And I said, I would like to know how you knew that. And he said, well, actually, not every woman, but numbers of women that get under my care here with this procedure, after about 3 to 4 months, are able to get pregnant. And I'm telling you, he did not tell me that in the initial consultation when I went in. This was absolutely new news to me. He said, Luella, you don't understand how huge the impact on the health of the entire body and all body function can be when the atlas is out of position, where the brain cannot communicate with the body and the body back to the brain. But instead of me telling you that, he said, you need to meet some people. So we began to meet a lot of his patients. We met people with migraine headaches, sciatica, attention deficit disorders, knee problems, feet problems, I mean, digestive problems, hearing problems. It wasn't about the conditions. In fact, this procedure is not about conditions. Upper cervical chiropractors don't treat conditions. They simply correct the atlas so the nerve interference between the brain and the body is removed and the body can function again.
Luella, we have some other upper cervical patients in the audience. Let's find out what they've got to say.
My name is Danita. I've been in the accounting field for a little over 20 years, and the past 3 years I've been unemployed because about 3.5 years ago I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia, and before that I was diagnosed with chronic Epstein-Barr, and all I knew was I had problems. I had problems sleeping, I had problems with headaches, constant headaches. I've been to my regular doctor. From him I was sent to a neurologist, and from there I went to a rheumatologist, and that's who diagnosed the fibromyalgia. And he put me on different types of medication to help me sleep at night and to help with the irritable bowel syndrome and the migraines. And I went to physical therapy. And it all helped, but it didn't fix anything. And like I said, I've been unemployed for over 3 years now, so I couldn't afford to go to any of the other doctors. I had started kind of turning into myself and not wanting to leave the house, not wanting to go anywhere or be around anybody, and not even wanting to go to the doctors. And after coming here the first time, it's a whole different atmosphere, it's a different experience. You enjoy coming back every time, you really do. So I came here the first time and they just read over the questions and did the x-rays, and they set me up for the next time. And after the first adjustment, I didn't really feel anything major happen, but I felt better. And I live about, well, it takes about 45 minutes to get here from where I live. So about halfway home, my headache started easing up, and all of a sudden I felt air rushing into my right ear. I haven't been able to hear out of my right ear for several years. And I felt the air rushing in, and all of a sudden I could hear. And it was just unbelievable. And the sinuses cleared up, my headaches cleared up, I sleep at night. When I first came here, I was taking 2 extra strength Tylenol PM every 3 hours just to deal with the pain. And I never slept more than 2 or 3 hours at a time. And it was, you know, on top of not being able to work, it's terrible on your family life, it's terrible on everything. And I don't take them anymore. I was taking Zoloft for it was chest pains. The doctor called it anxiety attacks or panic attacks. I don't take that anymore. I don't have those. One of the first adjustments that I had, I was out of the Zoloft, and I was having them every 30 to 45 seconds, these chest pains. It's like explosions in your chest. And after the first adjustment, that day I had maybe 6 or 7. And since then, right now I've been coming here almost 2 months, and I have maybe 1 a day, maybe sometimes 2, and that's it. And I'm getting better. I can sit still. I can hear out of my right ear, which is amazing. And I can sit still and not be in pain. And I lay down at night and I go to sleep, and I sleep all night long.
I'm Jim. I'm an air traffic controller. I'm a paraplegic as a result of polio at age 4.5. I've had a problem with severe migraines that have gotten progressively worse as I've gotten older. to the point where I was physically incapacitated for 2 and 3 days at a time on a frequency of probably every 7 to 10 days. I've been to every type of practitioner that you can think of, nose and throat specialist, neurologist, homeopathic practitioners, acupuncturist, anybody that could help me try and get a handle on the problem. That was to no avail. And I called here and requested information, and I talked to one of the Pierces. They indicated, well, actually, I wanted to know what the difference between the type of chiropractic that they were practicing and traditional chiropractic, and they indicated that I should come in for an evaluation, which I did do, and here we are. My headaches are non-existent as long as I am in adjustment, which has basically given me back my life.
Well, my name is Kathy Mae Megason, and about 19 and a half years ago, I was taking karate, and I was a brown belt going for my black belt. Got kicked in the head, and from that head injury, I had memory loss, I was in a neck brace, and it caused me to have headaches. I had migraines about 5 to 6 days a week, and I had a constant headache that lasted continuously. For the first 16 years, I only had 16 pain-free days. I was constantly in pain, and I've been to numerous of people. Along with the headaches, I developed a neurological disorder that they thought was Tourette's, and it came in the form of involuntary movement. So I could be sitting here and all of a sudden go like this or raise my hand. It gave me a problem where I can't be around sound frequencies like cash registers, digital printers, saws, drills, anything like that. It throws me on the ground and gives me like an epileptic type Tourette syndrome type thing. So I had tried everyone. I've been through all the neurologists, I've been on research teams, I've been to chiropractors, I've been to homeopathics, I've been to everyone. And my pain management doctor suggested that I see the Pierces because he had spoke to them. So I came in and I thought, my very first day, oh, here we go again. You know, I go through this all the time trying to explain, well, what's wrong with you? And I've got a list like this. And I told them that's how I felt. And they said, well, you know, we think we can help you. Let's see what we can do. The very first adjustment that he gave me, he did it right behind my head, and it was the smallest little touch. And I'm thinking, oh, yeah, right. This is going to make a difference. So I went home, and I woke up, and I didn't have the headache. And with the controllable motor movements that I have, the days that I come in, they'll know I'm out because we call it dancing in the office. I'll be doing my little routine. And as soon as he adjusts me, it'll stop. Within 2 minutes, he can calm down my nervous system with the adjustments. So for me, this has really given me a new outlet on my life. It's really helped me greatly not to be in pain 24 hours a day, every single day.
I'm John. I'm a retired accountant, tax accountant. I first, 25 years ago approximately, I had these terrible pains in my face, and certain things triggered them. Going to the barber, going to the dentist, washing my face, blowing my nose, and I finally found out it was trigeminal neuralgia, and I was living in Maine at the time, and no doctor up there knew much about it, it seemed. So I finally moved down here, and I found a support group, and since then I had 3 treatments, which consisted of, it's like a minor operation where they shove a needle up into the area here and give it electric volts, and it sort of deadens the nerve, and after a while then that stops the pain from triggering. I had it done 3 times. The effects of it, first time it was good for 18 months, and then 12 months, and the last time 6 months. So after that 3rd treatment, it looked like further treatments wouldn't be of any help, and it could do more damage to the nerves. through reading and hearing about what they do here for you, why I came here to see Dr. Pierce. And after several treatments, I could know that I had some improvement in my daily functions.
My name is Pam, and I'm a housewife. And about 9 or 10 years ago, I had really bad headaches all the time. My neck hurt and my shoulders hurt, and my pastor's wife told me about the Pierce Chiropractic Clinic. It wasn't any time at all that they had the headaches gone. And they got my spine in alignment, and it was incredible because the headaches would be so horrible and so intense, and they were like every day. And when you live with a headache all the time, you just can't ever get anything done, and it was so wonderful to be able to not have a headache anymore. I'm very healthy now, and my spine is in good working order. I can bend over and I feel comfortable. I can do exercises, and I know it's because I come here and I keep my spine in good working order.
My name's Ed. I'm a machine specialist. I work on make container bottles. I've been involved in 3 accidents, and I've had these pains in my head, and it was terrible. For 2 years, I worked in heat that was outrageous, 180 degrees inside, and it was terrible. And one night, I was watching TV. I seen this commercial, and they happened to be right here in Jacksonville, where I live at, and I've been going to them for a year now, and the headaches, after 3 days they put this bone in place, they went away, and I hadn't had them since. My lower back pain's gone. I started sleeping better. I had heartburn for, I don't know how long, 15 years, and a week later I had no heartburn. The heartburn was gone.
My name is Celestine Dantzler. I'm a former input operator. I worked at the University of North Florida. I'm also a former professional dancer and dance instructor. I was diagnosed with spondylolisthesis. Had major back surgery, have 2 rods and 8 screws in my back, and I've never improved. And from then, a year later, I've been diagnosed with ALS. One day I was on my way to the doctor, and I was watching TV, flipping channels, and I came across an infomercial. And it was about the Pierce Clinic. And everything the patients were saying was me. I have one leg shorter than the other one. I have chronic fatigue, headaches all the time. I fall all the time. And so I decided to check them out. And I've been coming here for over a year. My neurologist is amazed. He's amazed that I can still walk. And I credit it to the care that I get here.
Henry North, occupation, retired city employee of the sanitation department. Back in 1952, I had rheumatic fever, which they said also I possibly had rheumatoid arthritis, and I couldn't walk. So they put me in the hospital, which was the county hospital known back then. All they knew to give me was aspirins. In 7 months and 2 weeks, I couldn't walk. And so finally I got where I could walk again. So then I come down with it, like I say, in about 52. My mother brought me to Bert Pierce's dad, and he gave me the adjustments that they give today, which they did it with by hand then, and about 3 treatments thereabout, I was able to walk again. And I've never had another problem with the rheumatic fever or the rheumatoid arthritis.
My name is Gwenda. I'm a homemaker. When I was 19 and sitting at a dead still stop at a red light, a drunk lady hit me from behind doing 90 miles an hour, and I've had horrific health problems ever since. Heart palpitations, severe lung infections nonstop, Helicobacter pylori, in the stomach where the bad bacteria just eats up the good, and severe indigestions, ulcers, hiatal hernias, gouty arthritis. I could go on and on about the list of problems I've had, but the one I guess that scared me the most was, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it right, but it's Sjogren's syndrome, Sjogrens. something to do with the autoimmune system. At my first adjustment, absolutely, it felt just like someone had poured maybe a lukewarm water down my neck and on my shoulders. I could feel a slow spread, circulation that I had not felt in so many years. It was unnatural. My face immediately started getting color because at this point I had been so pale, you know, white to the point of pale like a piece of writing paper. And after coming for a couple of months, I started doing extremely better to the point to where I was really getting excited about life. I had got to where I could do things without hurting. What impressed me the most, I managed to wash dishes 3 times without feeling any pain. I cannot remember, even as a young child, washing dishes without feeling severe pain. So, you know, I was really excited, and they said, well, from this point on, you're going to start getting all your energy and feeling great. I still have a ways to go because of this last injury, but I'm real excited because I know it's just a matter of time.
I'm Rachel's grandmother. When we first brought her to the Pierce Clinic, she was a completely invalid. She couldn't move too much of her body. Her eyes was elevated up, and she was just like a newborn baby. And they started working with her, and she started to make little sounds, little baby sounds, you know, and she just progressed from there. She was diagnosed with viral meningitis, and then she had encephalitis.
My name is Rachel Accord, and I was handicapped, and it was a miracle for me. I had brain injuries, I guess, and my eye was looking up in space. I just bad. But when I came here, they did a lot for me, and I got better, and I been able to wear my wheelchair better, and I was able to walk with someone holding on with me. And that's what they did for me.
You have a question.
What makes your clinic unique?
As you know, we treat the total person. Not only are we board certified Atlas orthogonalist, which is the specialized care in the upper spine, we also have a medical doctor on staff and a physical therapist on staff, and we also have a nutritionist. Therefore, we can treat the total person for his total health problem and get results when other methods may not work.
Can you explain to me the Atlas orthogonal technique?
Well, that's a good question. As Luella stated earlier, that this is a procedure done by very few chiropractors, a small percentage in the world. Basically, we have to do one thing, and that is to get the bone structure back in position, as on the chart here. When the vertebra slips out of position, it strangles the spinal cord. We put it back. That's the first thing. The second thing is we have to tighten the muscles in that position. Now, we want that to tighten while you're carrying on your normal life activities, because when you are through with care, we want that to stay there and be strong in the proper position.
Doctor, what's different about your medical treatment?
Primarily, I'm concerned with pressure on the brainstem and spinal cord versus just a pinched nerve. Your brainstem is the most important part of your body. It controls your body temperature, your blood pressure, your balance, your equilibrium. It also controls your vision, your taste, your hearing, your smell. So that area alone is the area that we address.
I have pain in my left shoulder. Why do you treat my top vertebra? How do you know that that's causing the pain?
When the first vertebra becomes misaligned, twisted, or kinking on the spinal cord, it shuts off nerve supply to any part of the body. As we all know, the brain controls every function in the body. If I pinch a nerve into the stomach or the kidney or the arm or the leg, it's going to cause problems in that area. And if it stays there long enough, it's going to cause some serious damage in those particular parts.
Will this procedure have an effect on lower back problems such as sciatica and bulging discs?
Yes, it will. 90% of low back problems come from the neck. The reason why is when that atlas misaligns, the rest of your spine compensates for it, and it causes disc bulges and a lot of pressure, muscle tension, and so forth on your low back.
The National Awareness Campaign for Upper Cervical Care assists people free of charge throughout the U.S. and Canada who need to locate an upper cervical doctor in their area. For that information, as well as a free 60-minute audio tape full of excellent information about upper cervical health care, call toll-free 1-888-622-8221.
I hope that you walk away from this program with more hope than you've had in a long, long time. But I want it to be realistic hope. Even though hundreds of different conditions are being helped or eliminated completely, I have to tell you that, again, we just never know how each individual person is going to respond. Are there people with herniated discs or migraines or carpal tunnel or sciatica or epilepsy or neuropathy that have been helped majorly by this? Oh, yes. But that does not necessarily mean that everyone diagnosed with these conditions will improve too. We just never know how much this procedure is going to affect a particular condition. But we do know that when your atlas is corrected and body balance is restored and proper nerve flow is finally reaching every part of the body, healing happens. And when that healing takes place, multiple conditions that don't seem to have any commonality are either completely eliminated or helped to some degree or another. Now, the chances of this procedure being a real help to you increase the sooner you get under care. And moms and dads, I can't say it enough, get your child's atlas examined yesterday. Children respond the best to this care because they don't have years of problems behind them to overcome. Now, here is the name, address, and phone number of an upper cervical chiropractor near you. Even if you can't remember the doctor's name or the address, at least write down the phone number and call their office and see how soon they can work you in. One last thing. I think because I have suffered a lot, I would love to be able to guarantee that this procedure is going to help you personally, but I can't. There just aren't any guarantees. But it is my hope that now that you know about this type of health care, it will be just as healing and just as life-changing for you as it has been for me.